Giving them a compliment and calling them clueless.
Just because he wasn't that...
He's part of the new breed of nice people we've got around.
I think the new breed are just new players. Oh, someone's there.
Oh shit, go right. Hey, how you going, buddy?
Is he friendly?
Microphone muted.
Hello.
Wait, he's buying what?
Hello. Oh shit, it's a fucking hacker. Yep, log out. I think that's the only time you can justify combat logging is when you come across a hacker. I hate combat loggers, I hate hackers more. I think the new updates are great. Obviously this was recorded before they were made, so you could just log out and your character wouldn't stick around, you'd survive. But I have come up with a plan to stop hackers, at least temporarily. And I think what I'll do is, while they're at school, I'm going to break into their bedrooms and wrinkle up their Miley Cyrus posters. It's probably going to make them really upset and they won't be able to play the game for a while because they can't see the screen through their tears. Anyway, because this cunt was hacking and attacking us, we decided to change servers and try to make our way to Cherno. But when we got to Cherno, there was no one there. I'm used to playing the mod and seeing Cherno just always full. The changing of the spawn areas has really changed the dynamic of the map, where people go, where the traffic is. And knowing exactly where the most traffic is essential for me if I'm going to be begging. If I'm going to be relying on other people, I need to know exactly where they are, otherwise I'm just going to sit there and starve. And I don't mean fresh spawn, so not necessarily just on the roads along the coast, but I need to find players who have enough gear that they can share some with me. And there's also something else which, a point which Savman brings up, I'll just let that play.
So if you get an axe, you'll be able to chop someone with their gun. So really, you just need to get over this weapon.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why it's fun. It's I'm thinking strategically on how to. Oh, if only I could just get an axe, I could walk up behind someone and chop them, and take their friggin' whatever sniper. That's why it's interesting. See, when I started playing this way, I didn't have a strong enough sense of urgency. I was always going to consider robbing someone or killing someone to get what I needed, but I needed to have that attitude from the very start. If you remember in the first episode, the first video, there was someone in Electro who got shot, and everyone around me started robbing the guy while he was unconscious and running off with his stuff. I was the only one who sat there trying to save him, but in fact I was the one who needed his stuff the most. Everyone else could run around and loot, but I wasn't allowing myself to do that, so I needed his stuff more than they did. Yet I didn't take it. So if I get into that kind of situation again, I'm taking the stuff because I have to do that to survive. So I'll definitely be changing my approach from the very beginning next time. That robbery isn't a last resort. It's going to have to be something I do immediately because the stakes are high from the very start. The instant I spawn, it's a crisis and I'm running out of time, and I have to treat it that way. I'm still going to beg and be as nice as possible, but if I see an opportunity, I should take it. The next time I started playing, the new patch had come around, and I was going to be having a go with Twerkit. Twerkit was going to join me. He just destroyed his character so he could join in, and we could both try to survive together in this way. And I thought I had plenty of energy left, and I decided to run towards Electro and try to meet up with him. Turned out it was a pretty big mistake. To help illustrate why it was such a bad thing to do, I'll tell you about a story from Australia. In Australia, of course, we have very large deserts, very large areas where there aren't any towns, no people. And if you're driving out there in your car and it breaks down in the middle of nowhere, it could be hundreds of kilometres to the nearest place, to the nearest petrol station or help. And you're actually better off just staying in your car and waiting. You could possibly last a couple of days in your car if you just lay there and rest. Maybe even you might even have some water in there, some basic supplies, or you should be if you're driving out there like that. But if you start walking, if you get out and try to walk, you're probably going to die. And a week later, a plane's going to fly over your car and find your car, and then they're going to follow a track and find your dead body. And that sort of happened recently. These two guys went out in a car to check a well, They were 16 kilometers away from where they were staying, from the accommodation, from their house or whatever it was. So they decided to walk, 16 kilometers. It's at the end of the day, it's like 16 k's isn't that far. They only made it 6 kilometers before one of them was dead and the other one was unable to move anymore and just about to die. So it was about, I think it was about 48 degrees Celsius or something like that, 50 degrees Celsius. They died from dehydration within a couple of hours, and that's how quickly it can happen. So that's kind of the situation I'm in. I don't have enough energy. There's no way for me to get food. I can't find any other players. The last thing I need to be doing is jumping up and running around trying to meet up with people like I normally would in DayZ. And that's a real survival situation. This is a situation where you have to make hard choices, and it's often better to not act than to act. And which is part of the reason I'm not a big fan of Bear Grylls. I think everyone knows the show is scripted, and he doesn't really go out and put himself in survival situations. But the other thing is he doesn't encourage good habits. There's always lots of action and running around, jumping into ponds and leaping across caverns and taking big risks and being very active, and it's actually not the right thing to do. Now back to my situation. Compounding all this is the fact that the patch has just been brought in, and there seem to be a lot of new spawns in this server and not many people who are geared. I couldn't, first of all, at the start we couldn't find anyone, and second of all, when we did find them they had nothing. So it started to become really kind of depressing. I started to feel this negativity creep in, and it all started to feel pretty hopeless. And you can see us here sitting on this bridge in between the Prigorodki bridge in between Cherno and Electro. Usually I would expect a lot of people to be coming through, but no one came through for so long, and we just sat on that bridge for a long time twiddling our thumbs, hoping to ambush someone and beg for some food, be some ambush beggars. Now another problem with the patch is that you can't tell when you're stuffed or not. It would just, once you reached a full belly, it would just stay stuck on that status. It would say that your stomach is full, and you would actually get so full that you would vomit before you'd get a notification that your stomach was full, which was very different to before the patch. And so what would happen to us was we'd drink so much water that we'd vomit, and that would I think it'd cause some of your food to vomit up, and you'd lose lots of energy, and we started starving really quickly, especially Twerkit here. Once we went back to Cherno, wasting more time and energy, and we were waiting in these areas that are usually very popular, and he sat up in the tower of the fire station and just starved to death. And you could see me looting his dead body just there for the rags that were left. That's all we gained from it. And again decided to start using more energy, running around like an idiot, and ran back to Electro because that's where the only place I'd found people before. It was very risky, but I knew it seemed like that was the only option I had left. It was do or die. Normally in DayZ, when you see another player, you get scared and you wonder if they're friendly or not, or if they're going to kill you. When you're playing like this, when you're not allowing yourself to touch any loot unless it's from another person, then when you see another player, they become like this light at the end of the tunnel. They seem like your savior, and you forget about any kind of risk because you're going to starve to death anyway. So this turned the game on its head for me. It's very, very interesting. The more people were around, the safer, in the end, the safer I felt. Now the end here is very sad. I running back into Electro, starving, going black and white, just running around in circles, calling out for anyone to help me or feed me. I decided to sit at the bus stop and waiting for someone to come into town because the server was full. I was really expecting more people to be there. Met one bloke at the fire station. He had no food, and that was it. The end. I eventually passed out. I went to sleep and never woke up. So it's been very interesting. I think in the future we're going to try a couple of different things. I'm going to try this way again. I I'm not going to do it often, but it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to try it once. We're also going to gear up as a squad, make sure we're all healthy and fed and we've got supplies, and then we're going to cut off the supplies. So after that point we won't be able to touch any spawned loot, and we're going to have to get everything off other players, either by begging or killing them and stealing or trading. So I'll be continuing this series in the future. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to see me try some things or you have some suggestions. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, comment. Be awesome. See you later.